Look at you laid out on a red blanket looking all regal and shit. Are you ready for some good news? Typical underreaction. Are you ready for some good news? First up, a child born with a congenital skin disease has been successfully treated with transplanted skin grown from his own stem cells. The patient has a condition called epidermolysis bullosa, or EB, which results in extremely fragile skin. By the time he began treatment at age 7, he had lost 60% of his epidermis and was suffering from sepsis. While the boy was being treated in the intensive care unit at Ruhr University's Catholic Hospital in Bochum, Germany, a team of doctors from the hospital's burn unit, in collaboration with researchers from the University of Modena in Italy, tried an experimental therapy. EB is caused by a genetic mutation that prevents the two layers of skin, epidermis and dermis, from holding together. The doctors in Bochum took epidermal stem cells from the patient and sent them to Modena, where researchers replaced the mutated gene with an intact, healthy version. Skin grafts were cultivated from the genetically modified stem cells, which were eventually transplanted onto the patient. The first transplant was over 2 years ago. Eventually, 80% of the boy's outer body received these skin grafts. Today, the patient is out of the hospital and able to attend school thanks to the transplanted skin. The success of this case could lead to this treatment being used for others who suffer from EB or who lose skin due to burns or other conditions. The paper on these genetically modified skin transplants is published in the journal Nature. Next up, new drugs could hit the market a little bit faster in the future thanks in part to LEDs. Drug development takes a long time, and there's a very good reason for that. Researchers must establish that a drug not only does what it's supposed to do, but does so safely. One way they do this is by tracking where a drug goes once it's introduced into the body. This is done by isotopic labeling, attaching radioactive atoms to molecules of the drug so their movements can be detected from outside the body. It's very effective, but attaching the radioactive atoms is a delicate and time-consuming process, sometimes taking months to complete. Now, a new technique has been developed by researchers at Princeton University that can radioactively tag drugs in a fraction of that time. The secret? Blue LEDs. Here's how it works. The drug to be tagged is added to heavy water, which contains tritium, a radioactive isotope of hydrogen. Blue light is then shined from an LED on the solution, which catalyzes a chemical reaction that replaces hydrogen atoms in the drug molecule with tritium, resulting in a radioactive form of the drug that can be tracked. Instead of months, this process takes only hours to complete. Knocking months off the development time for new drugs? That's very good news. This research is published in the journal Science. And finally, I know Halloween was a few weeks ago, but is there ever a bad time to tell you about a star that is one of the undead? A supernova is a brilliant and beautiful event, but it's also kind of sad because it represents the death of a star. Or at least that's what usually happens. Astronomers at Las Cumbres Observatory in Southern California have discovered an exception to that rule, a star that has gone supernova but continues to shine. In 2014, astronomers first observed a supernova in the constellation Ursa Major. It was designated IPTF-14HLS. Based on their initial observations, the astronomers predicted the supernova would shine for approximately 100 days before cooling and dimming, which would have been typical. But that didn't happen. It's been over 3 years since it was discovered, and while its brightness has fluctuated several times, IPTF-14HLS is still shining. But it gets better. Astronomers reviewed old observations of the same area and found that IPTF-14HLS had also erupted in 1954, 60 years before it was discovered this time around. One possible explanation for this behavior is that IPTF-14HLS is the product of a star so massive that a single supernova wasn't enough for it to shed its stellar mass, so it goes supernova multiple times before collapsing into a black hole. This kind of object isn't unheard of. There's even a name for it, pulsational pair instability supernova. But astronomers have never actually seen one, and never expected to. Pulsational pair instability supernovas were thought to have occurred only in the early universe. If IPTF-14HLS is such a supernova, and it might not be, there's still a lot about it that can't be explained, but if it is, it's the astronomical equivalent of finding a dinosaur alive and well in the modern age. The study on this remarkable, undying supernova is published in the journal Nature. Does that not impress you, seriously? You fell asleep while I was talking about the zombie supernova. You know, they say curiosity killed the cat. You're going to live forever. Hey, anyway, what have we learned this week? Gene therapy allows doctors to treat a child who was losing his skin. Scientists use LEDs to dramatically shorten an important stage of drug development. And astronomers discover a star that will not die. That's the good news. Hey folks, one more thing before I go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and also please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. See you next time.